Do not adjust your sets. You're watching curling as it looked over 30 years ago in a Perth ice rink, which has itself changed a fair bit too. The city of Perth can claim to be at the forefront of this royal and ancient game of curling. It was here that some of the world's oldest curling stones were discovered, dating back to the 16th century. In those days, the game was only played outdoors, and some of the biggest events out in the fresh air were staged in central Scotland, the so-called grand matches. They started in the early 1800s, when our winters were harsh enough to freeze the lochs.
Curlers turned up in force for the bonspiel on Scotland's only lake, the Lake of Menteith in Perthshire. The North beat the South by 22 shots.
The last and largest grand match took place on the Lake of Menteith as late as 1979, when 300 teams took part. That's 2,400 curlers, and as many again were there to watch. When the game went indoors, Perth again had a big part to play and staged one of several Scotch Cup challenges in 1959. That was played between Scotland and Canada's finest curlers. And the competition developed into what we now know as the World Championship. There are now 30 countries in which curling is a major sport, and around 2 million curlers are active in the game, with World Championships for men, women and juniors. And curling really comes of age in 1998, when it'll have full medal status at the Winter Olympics in Nagano, Japan. Yes, curling has come a very long way indeed, and with me to discuss just a little bit more of the history is one of the great authorities on the sport, W.Smith. How much has it changed since those early days?
Well, I have here one of the earliest stones, a groove for the fingers, a hole for the thumb, and they had no handles. So the game obviously was very different in these days. After that, they went in for very, very big, large boulders like that one there. And they could become immense. There's one outside Blair Castle that I had the Duke of Athol's factor weigh for me, and it weighs 183 pounds. They must have had a gorilla in the rink, I think, to throw a thing like that. But by the beginning of the 19th century, circularity with a fixed handle on the top was the rule, and that made for a much more scientific game.
Well, as you say, David, it's come an awful long way, and we're just about to see the best that the modern game can offer in the Macallan Scottish Championship. Contesting it, Gordon Muirhead of Livingston, who's so often been a nearly man in this championship, trying to win for the first time at skip. Peter Loudon plays third. Peter, one of the country's most respected coaches. Bob Kelly, a winner with Colin Hamilton last year, plays second. And another top coach, Russell Keeler, is lead-off man. They're up against Warwick Smith's Perth Rink, who defeated favourite Hammy McMillan in this semi. It's a first taste of the big time for Warwick and his team of third, Ian Stewart. Second, Derek Brown, a former Scottish junior champion. And at lead, Ross Hepburn. And at stake is a trip to the World Championships in Brandon, Manitoba in Canada. And that is indeed where Kirsty Hay, the women's champion, will be going, but only after she's finished a commentating stint alongside Willie Jimison.
Well, thanks, Hazel. But before we join the match, there are some questions that you've asked that we're going to try and answer. Firstly, some people have asked why the skip holds the brush as a target for the player and what that means. Co-commentator Kirsty Hay explains.
So if this is the last stone of the game, we're faced with a shot in the back of the forefoot. The options that we have, first of all, would be to draw. Now on a draw weight, the stone's moving quite slowly, so I would take about that much ice. I would ask my skip player to aim at the brush, and I would expect the stone to draw onto this shot here. Now the turn I would ask for is the out turn, and the stone would move anti-clockwise, coming towards the middle. The other option that we would have is a takeout. For that, the stone's moving a lot faster. I would ask for a strike weight, and I would ask possibly for less ice like that, edge of the stone. Again, asking for the out turn, the stone moving anti-clockwise towards the middle.
Just a reminder that the hammer on the scoreboard indicates that that team holds the hammer or last stone advantage. Second end of the final, 0-0. Muirhead with the hammer, as we can see, maintaining his last stone advantage, blanking the end last time round. So once again trying to come round in behind the blue and land there, maybe using this white at the back as cover. I suppose, Kirsty, that's a pretty sensible call, because the white stone is just touching the circle, so even if this tactic doesn't quite work out, Gordon will have a lot of opportunity to score his one with the advantage of the hammer that he holds. Sweeping it now, lots of room they say, so doesn't need it for line.
His weight's up, so it's hanging straighter than the shot that W.Smith played.
He certainly is
Might
heavier.
just slipped past.
Does he come to the back white? Ooh. Now that was a bit of a mistake from Muirhead. He really had to be lying short after that one to put the pressure on to W.Smith. So once again, Smith is being handed an opportunity to play this draw round behind the guard.
And he knows the path. He's played it the first time, so he's going to better it this time. He wants to lie on the tee line or slightly in front.
So in other words, the same kind of line, but just a little bit less weight. So W.Smith just composing himself for his last shot in the second end. 0-0 at the moment.
This is a big pressure shot. They have a chance to make a break here. Really force Gordy into playing a good last stone, not opportunity to steal.
The Smith team, of course, lying one at the moment at the back of the house, but trying, as you say, Kirsty, to get this one in close to the 4 foot. Now they're going to have to sweep it. That looks light.
I think it's got the weight. They're just trying to sweep it and keep it drawing. Chance to use the cover.
They really have to work this. It's got to count two. It's really got to count two to put the pressure on. Nope. Well, that was a bit of an opportunity miss. We see they're all working here in this stone, trying to sweep it into the house. Of course, good sweeping will take a stone about 10 to 12 feet further in these kind of ice conditions. So they have to keep sweeping to keep it moving, but no, it lands just 2 or 3 inches short, so white only lie one. An opportunity missed to put some pressure onto Muirhead, I think.
Yeah, it's still covering the back stone, but they desperately wanted to get a second shot in and really put the pressure on.
Gordon Muirhead now about to play his last stone in the second end of this 1995 final. Lying one against, just one white counting at the very back left there. Electing to play the simple draw shot to count one.
This is still a tester that pushed him out onto a bit wider patch of ice. It's heavy with this first one. He'll be wanting to stop in the rings.
Very much a question of judgment. Peter Loudon doesn't like it. He thinks it's heavy, and it certainly looks heavy as it comes into the house. Will it stop? Ian Stewart can sweep now. He's entitled to. He's sweeping hard, hard, hard. No. Well, for my money, yep. Gordon just makes it. So, by a couple of inches, Gordon Muirhead from Livingston takes a 1-0 lead after 2 ends. Smith takes a 1 in the third end, and here we are in the fourth with the score at 1-1. Derek Brown playing the shot. Playing quite a gentle strike weight. Sweeping it straight away. This looks like it's curling a bit. Needs to sweep it to hold it straight for line. Hits it, rolls. Great shot. Really nice shot there from Derek Brown, Kirsty. Just played it beautifully. A nice quiet weight.
Just rolling half a stone too far, but an excellent attempt.
Nice example of the shot. And there's the result. As you say, Kirsty, just rolling a little bit too far, but a very nice shot nonetheless.
Yeah, this ice is swingy enough. It lends itself to playing the quieter weights and trying to keep the stone in play.
Bob Kelly playing this hit, releasing the stone there just before that hog line. He's got to do that. If he hung on to it over the hog line, it would have been a foul shot. Bob playing a delicate strike here, trying to remove this white, not curling as much as they'd like. Gets rid of it, and does the next best thing, Kirsty, rolls away from the guard, making the next hit and roll that bit harder. I don't think W.Smith really knows this bit of ice, so he's electing to play strike weight. So if he gets the hidden roll, that's going to be, you know, not hesitate to say lucky, but it's going to be harder to call it if he's unfamiliar with the ice.
Bit of guesswork here. He's nominating a strike to keep the weight up, and even then if they hit 3/4 of the stone, it'll have enough movement to roll back in behind the guard.
Plays the hit, gets the roll, but not enough. That was bad luck there from Derek Brown. He played the shot very well indeed. Gordon just asking for a quiet strike weight, just enough to take the stone to the barrier at the back. Bob Kelly playing the hit and roll, trying to remove the white and roll in behind the guard again. Not playing this one too heavy. Just gently watching the sweeping. Muirhead not calling anything. He's got the roll, and too far though. Well, that's a pretty good roll, Kirsty.
Almost perfect.
Now we can see the sweepers aren't really working hard on this. Muirhead hasn't called them on. And just watch how it bounces off the white and rolls across to the centre line in behind that guard. This is really top-notch curling. So the counter-attack from Smith, trying to play a draw shot in behind the white guard here to freeze onto the face of the blue, maybe touch it back a bit, but it has to be in the house, and this looks a bit light. Well, Ian Stewart not quite getting the weight there and leaving that one short, and I don't think that's what they wanted.
Double guarding it. Yeah, every skip's nightmare.
Well, just look at it. It's really well guarded there. Those two guards locked on. They can't drive it back. Now Muirhead having a... He's doing the right thing. If he puts a stone out to the wings here, but it has to be T-line or behind to stop a long double takeout. Peter Loudon then playing an in-turn draw out to the wings. He doesn't really want to be in front of the T-line here. The sweepers have to work this ticket right back. Peter joins in, which is entitled to do. They need to get it right back. They don't want to set up a double, but Gordon... Well, an interesting skipping decision there from Muirhead. He decided that they couldn't get it back parallel to the stone, so he wants to leave it as short as possible to leave a long angle. Here they think they can take it back, but just watch. Muirhead will shout and they will stop sweeping round about now, I think. There he goes. So the result of that is quite a sharp angle for any kind of double takeout.
Makes it all the more harder for the opposition to stay in the house when they're hitting.
Okay, Ian Stewart though, going for this double. Hits it, doesn't quite get the roll. Now then, Kirsty, what does Gordon Muirhead do? Does he strike the white? Does he draw in behind it? Does he draw to the other wing?
It's quite a negative shot to hit it, however it's dangerous there, no matter whose shot it is.
Not too sure what he's looking at there. What about the...
The thing is, W.Smith might even nominate to hit his own white there and roll over. That's maybe the only way he can get into the blue shot.
So to be safe then, Peter Loudon with his second stone here in the fourth end, removing this white opposition stone, looking for a long hit and roll to the other side of the house if he can get it, and they're sweeping it hard. Has he got the angle? Hit! Where's the roll? Where's the roll? Muirhead's got to work this. He's got to work this across. He's got to work it right back. Oh, that's just such a superb result there from Loudon. Takes away the white stone, takes away the angle for a possible double off it. And look at this, Kirsty. He couldn't have played this any better at all.
Still lying, of course, and that's the key as well. Gordon Muirhead has last stone. He's looking to score 2 or possibly even more than that this end.
But Muirhead taking this right to the side behind the team. There's no way there's a double in those blues now. Lovely shot there. And this nomination here, I think, is pretty risky from W.Smith. He's decided not to be defensive at all and go for the jugular, going for the draw in round behind those two whites. Just calming himself. He knows this is a big shot. Kirsty, is this wise? It's a very, very big call.
I think this is the right decision. Gordon Muirhead has last stone. He's already lying 2. Warwick, even if he doesn't make the perfect shot here, even if he cuts out the back one, gives himself perhaps something to play off with his last stone.
Okay, so they're not sweeping. This is looking a little bit fast. Unfortunately, he just played that a little bit fast because he touched the winner there in the centre of the circle. He's now lying in second shot position. You can see he's closer than the blue top right as we look at it. But unfortunately, he's exposed.
Anywhere in front of that blue stone would have been good for Warwick. He would have had a chance perhaps to tap it back with his last one.
So Muirhead now can obviously come up and remove this white stone. And I think what he wants to do is to roll off it into this position here. And that way he's spreading all his stones. One consequence of what W.Smith did, of course, was that he pushed that blue stone further in behind the guards, thereby making his next attempt at the draw, if he chooses that much more difficult. Muirhead then with the first stone of his 2 in the 4th end, trying to remove this white stone and roll to the left. They're not sweeping it here, Kirsty. Has he missed it altogether? Just about. Well, it's not a bad result, really. The last thing he wanted was to hit there and stay in the same position, because that would have set up a double takeout for Smith. But the position is there. If he comes round the guards here with just enough weight to land there, that would be absolutely super. Not much room though, Kirsty. Still a very, very difficult shot.
He had a practice with his first one, so he'll be trying to remember how fast he threw it, how quick the stone felt.
So W.Smith, last stone, 4th end, line 2 again. Score tied up 1 each with a big, big draw. Sweeping it now. Really going to have to work this, Kirsty. They're working it hard. They've got to pull it in. Where is he? Well, he's not bad there. I think he's lying in second shot position.
That was disappointing. He played that shot really well. The sweepers were half asleep. Maybe should have picked it up a bit earlier.
Well, we see they're just picking it up there as they began to sweep, and the stone is curling beautifully. The line is gorgeous, but unfortunately, as you say, just a bit slow picking up in the sweeping. And here we can see in desperation they're working it hard, 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 but they have to get right back to the tee line. They have to be fully in the blue, and they leave it a tantalizing, what, 2 or 3 feet short? Well played, but not terribly well swept. Still, he's lying 2, and Muirhead can't hit it, so Muirhead does have a chance for his 2, but it's not as easy as all that. He's only got about, what, 4 or 5 feet to draw to?
Takes him out on the other side of the sheet as well, forces him to play the other handle, so he's guessing a little bit here.
Gordon Muirhead, the last stone of the 4th end. This draw to count 2. They're not sweeping it yet, but I think it needs it. I think it's going to need it soon. It needs to land on the tee line. It has to be fully blue. This looks pretty good. Just nursing it nicely. Well, Muirhead displays a fantastic command of drawing, hits the tee line and scores a big 2 to take a 3-1 lead after 4 ends. We're in the 5th now with Peter Loudon playing the first of his 2 stones. At this stage in the final, both teams very evenly matched, scoring 75% of their shots. Loudon here trying to clear this guard off. We've been measuring the team's performances, and they've all been achieving round about 75% or 3/4 of the shots that they've been asked to play, and that's quite a good standard, Kirsty Hay, for a Scottish final.
It certainly is. Sometimes you find the teams go out and they're a bit nervy, but both these teams have played quite aggressively, lots of draw shots, and they've been pulling them off.
They have indeed at this stage. Ian Stewart playing the first of his 2 stones. W.Smith, of course, has the hammer this end. He has the last stone advantage. Now Ian electing to try and play a guard in this shot here. The perhaps the more classic tactic would have been to put a stone on the other side of the house.
Yeah, they have last stone. Splitting the house and leaving little opportunity for a double is always a good call, but it's interesting to see them do this. I wonder what Gordy will think of it.
Well, Gordon Muirhead having a good look here, and yeah, well, lots of fidgety hands there, but all that meant was that Peter Loudon here has to play strike weight, try and remove the stone that's in the house, the one that's counting behind the guard, or, as an option, if he's a bit tight, remove or peel off the guard. Strike weight shot then from Loudon.
Got to be careful here, we've seen it drifting back before.
Well, he squeezes past the guard and he plays the first nomination. Very, very nice shot. Just squeezes past. Oh, a little bit of bally there from Russell. Yes, very, very colourful. A talented lad that he is. Ian Stewart then left with the option of using the guard he played with his first stone and trying to draw in behind it, left to right, with an in-turn draw shot. Doesn't like it, thinks it's heavy, thinks it's a wee bit wide. Nice shot there of the sweepers working this stone hard. Smith coming out to help them. Ian Stewart will be keeping an eye on the line from back there, but just rolled across a little bit. Now, will Muirhead be aggressive? I suspect he will.
Just what Gordy wants, a centre guard, something to come around behind into the 4-foot circle.
Taking ice then to play an in-turn draw, aiming at the brush and letting the stone curl in round to that position. Using that centre guard there. And now changing his mind. I really do wish he would listen to me. No, they're going for that shot, aren't they, Kirsty? They're having a think about putting something out to the wing to the side, but they're definitely trying to play this in-turn draw shot.
Just testing you, Willie.
Yes, just testing. Gordon known for his intense concentration. He really gets so hyped up when he's playing curling. You wouldn't believe he's quite a cheery chappy normally. Listening to Russell there.
Top secret, though, whispers only.
Okay. Yep. I think Russell Keeler was perhaps imparting information about the speed of the ice to help Gordon play it properly, just cleaning his stone as always. So having taken 2 in the 4th, a chance to really pile on the pressure here in the 5th. In-turn draw. Now it's up to the sweepers. They've been told it's just for weight. The line's good. There we can see it's right at the guard at the moment. It'll curl over to our left shortly. Hanging wide at the moment. Not curling yet, but it'll curl at the end when it loses its weight. Coming now. Well, lovely weight there from Gordon Muirhead, but that stone hardly moved at all. Drew, what, a foot, if that?
It didn't finish for him. I think later on, as the game progresses, we'll see that side of the sheet moving a bit more.
Well, there we can see the blue stone, a lovely weight just on the tee line, but unfortunately it's open, so he's handed an initiative back to Warwick Smith, because Smith now has the opportunity to play the hit and roll off that blue and in behind the guard. Just remove that blue and bounce off it and roll into this position. And that's all because that blue was a little bit wide of line. But that's what the game's all about, Kirsty. If you're going to play these draw shots in behind guard, you've got to make them.
I suppose that's why they considered probably putting it out into the red circle, which was something we talked about earlier. At least that made it a long roll for Warwick Smith. As it is, he's only got a foot or 2 and he'll be covered.
Smith then very dramatically releasing the stone. He's pretty fired up as well. Playing a quiet weight to this. This one's curling. This one really is curling this time. And curling too much. Has he hit it? Just snicks it. Oh, now that could be dangerous if it stays in, which it does. Now, Warwick Smith. Not sure what happened to that start. I think that blue stone is just hanging on at the back there. And remember, it just has to touch the circles to count. It doesn't have to be fully in. So Muirhead just going back to play this shot. Another draw shot, this time the different handle, the out-turn draw right to left into that position. And the reason he's changed the direction of attack to the guard here, Kirsty, would be presumably that he's more familiar with the ice on that side.
He didn't get enough swing on his first attempt going the other direction. And he played a draw down here to get just 2, so he'll be quite confident of the path.
Suiting it this time. This looks a little bit better. It's beginning to bend now. It's really moving now. Has he got the weight? Will he get past? Now it's got to stop. Now it's got to stop. Well, this highly knowledgeable Perth crowd acknowledge a really nice draw there from Gordon Muirhead. Well, he's not happy at all. I suspect it's because that stone really didn't draw very much.
No, it didn't finish again. I think you need the centre line to pull it in. That seems to be the key in the game so far, but great attempt. He really couldn't have made a better attempt at that shot.
Now, W.Smith has got to be very, very careful with this shot. That left-hand blue at the back is counting, so Muirhead from Livingston is counting 2 at the moment. So W.Smith wants to come up, remove that centre blue and lie in shot position. Now, unhappy about something. Playing this, I suspect, at a very quiet backspring weight, just enough weight to push that blue back, but it's a bit... He looks even a bit lighter than that, probably trying to play a draw just to nudge it back. This one's moving, this one's cutting across. He gets past the guard. Has he got enough? Plays it nicely, nudges it, pushes that back. So a lovely finesse shot there from W.Smith against 2 to take the score 3-2 in Muirhead's favour at the halfway stage.
Warwick, Gordon certainly got his draw weight early on, but that's a nice recovery from yourself there.
Yes, really needed that one, or he was going a little bit too far ahead for us. Seems to be playing quite well.
He's forcing you to play defensively. He did seem to have control of the game early on. What's the tactics now?
I think what we need to do is start getting the guards a little bit shorter, forcing him to come round, see if we can get a little bit round before him, you know. Perhaps make him play a couple of strikes instead of leaving myself to do it.
You certainly seem to find your draw weight early on. You've played very well, especially those pressure shots.
No, it's actually been very keen, because normally in the afternoon it's been slowing up quite a lot compared to the morning draws, but today for some reason it seems to be staying very fast, even with quite a lot of heat in here as well.
Question now of perhaps just composing the nerves.
Oh, it's just a case of hanging on, not doing anything silly.
The last time that Gordon Muirhead skipped his own team in the Scottish final was in 1985, where he painfully lost to this shot from Billy Howitt.
Has it got the legs? Is it going to make it? It's so close. This might have it, or has it caught on the red one? It's Rob Downey's won it. Oh, Air have it. I don't believe it, but neither do the crowd.
Gordon Muirhead blanked the 6th end to maintain his last stone advantage. He still has the hammer, and we go into the 7th end of the 10-end final, and he leads by a score of 3 shots to 2. First stone at the end being played by Ross Hepburn, lead player on W.Smith's team from Perth. And Kirsty, the pressure's on Warwick here to try and counter-attack against Muirhead, and I think he said he intended to do that by playing long, short guards.
That's his intention, maybe not quite as long and short as we're seeing just now, but I mean, it's a guard, it's cover, and they're going to need that to get back into this game.
And remember, Muirhead can't remove this guard at this stage because it's in play over the hog line, but not in the circles, in the free guard zone.
You catch the guard and I'll get into the middle. I know, you bet. Delboy came round that hand before him, remember?
Peter Loudon there making an irreverent reference to second player in the Warwick-Smith team, Derek Brown, aka Del Boy. Russell Keeler, though, playing the out-turn draw. Round this short stone, he looks maybe a little bit lighter weight. He really wants to get this one in, he wants to get it in. They're working as hard as he can. Ends up pretty well, though, just biting. Well, Kirsty, it's quite interesting where that guard is. It's not exactly covering the centre of the house, it's covering the edge of the 4-foot circle, so Muirhead probably feels reasonably comfortable with it there.
I think Gordy was concerned that if they tried to draw round on the in-turn, that is coming in the other direction, they might have chipped off the guard and left 2 out front, getting into a bit of a mess maybe.
Now Ross Hepburn, I think, feels that that stone caught something. He turned round after he let it go, and I think he feels that it might have caught a hair or something, and he may have, yes, it's behaving very erratically there. We see slewing all over the place, so it must have caught a hair or a bit of flap. But actually, it's ended up exactly where he wanted it, I think.
Yeah, it must have had something underneath it when he was sliding out. The players use their fingers and the feel in the fingers to tell how fast the stone's going. He would have felt it awkward, as though there was something there.
So he shakes his head, but he did achieve the result he was looking for. Muirhead was thinking of playing another shot, just almost exactly the same, but changing his mind this time. Well, just discussing this shot with his team, but nominating the in-turn draw then to come to rest there where he patted the ice. Russell Keeler with his second shot of the 7th end. Having played a very nice out-turn draw with his first. Trying to play a similar shot on the in-turn with his second. Kirsty, this looks like pretty good line to me. Squeezes past the guard. Doesn't want to be too far. Doesn't really want to be behind the tee line, but certainly lying covered. That's a pretty good shot from Russell.
At least they're putting the pressure on. They decided to play aggressively and go round that, and they are putting the pressure on. 2 in the house, and they have last stone.
Sweepers there holding that stone a bit straighter, keeping it going to miss the guard, then up. Had enough speed. The line's lovely, just dying and curling in towards the centre line. And as we have seen, ends up beautifully hidden behind the guard. Warwick-Smith now nominating a similar shot to follow that blue stone in behind the guard. Of course, they've just seen the line. So, Del Boy Derek Brown. In-turn draw, in behind the cover, if he can make it. And I think Derek's played this one a little bit heavier. It looks wide at the moment. See it drifting back from that yellow, beginning to curl into it now, but he's put a lot of weight onto this shot. And just dying at the end. Now, significantly, I don't think he's lying short. There we can see that blue stone is beating the white, so blue at the moment are lying 1. So this gives Muirhead the chance to block the road into those 2 at the back. That's how they're looking at the moment. Just Bob Kelly being asked to hit that and move to roll over there perhaps, but get this one out the back. Here's the man to play the shot, Bob Kelly, but to be clear about this, Kirsty, the fear is that that centre guard might create some cover behind which Warwick-Smith could draw. So to be very safe about it, let's remove it, and that despite the fact they're lying 1 shot guarded. And Bob's played the shot very well indeed, just clips off the guard and opens up the house. And that's maybe not a bad decision. Remember that Gordon Muirhead is 1 up at the moment, leading by 3 shots to 2 with the hammer. He doesn't want to take unnecessary risks. And at least he's opened up the centre of the house there, so with his last stone advantage, at least he can see the centre of the house, and probably a pretty good decision. Warwick-Smith, I think, has nominated Another guard in the centre line, so that tends to endorse Gordon's decision to remove it. Derek Brown playing this shot. Sweepers Ross Hepburn on the left and Ian Stewart on the right, just being very careful with it.
They need some cover nearer the middle. The stones that are out short just now are too far over, and it would still leave Gordy an open draw with his last.
Yes, he's played that one pretty well. That's just about exactly where Warwick Smith wanted it. So the game of chess continues. This time Muirhead slightly changing his attitude. This time I think he's looking at putting a stone in that kind of position, or even a bit further in behind the guard.
Change of tactic probably because he's frightened of driving that white onto the front blue stone there. No real opportunity to peel the guard off.
So Derek Brown forcing Bob Kelly into this attacking draw shot, and Bob's got to be careful. He doesn't want to be too heavy with this. It must be in front of the tee line when he finishes. Ideally top of the 8 foot, that would be just biting the white circles.
Looks good for weight.
And watch it bending now. It's just beginning to curl and cut in towards that centre line. Needs to stop just top of the 8, just top of the 8. Gordon's taking it deeper though. Well, the challenge was laid down and it was met beautifully by Bob Kelly, placing a lovely draw shot in there and piling on the pressure. Beautiful draw there, giving the sweepers every opportunity to take it exactly where they wanted, wide of the guard, curling now, misses the guard by 2 or 3 inches, and Gordon deciding he wants it, biting the blue 4-foot circle where it ends up, short of the tee, pressure on, lovely shot.
Aye, tap back, be all right. Aye, tap it back, yeah. Yeah.
So the nomination here, Kirsty, is to play a tee-weight shot to raise that white guard in the centre into the house.
We'll be looking to pop it into the corner of the 4-foot circle and roll over, perhaps just to open up that middle shot, the one that's counting short at the moment.
I think Ian quite likes the line. The sweepers are working it now. He's got to raise this stone into the circles, but at the wrong angle. This is going over to the right. They wanted it over to the left in an area of some cover now. I don't think Muirhead can afford to leave that white stone lying around, but he's got to be very careful if he hits it where it goes, and that's why he's coming out to have a look at the head from the player's point of view, trying to work out all the angles. He doesn't want it there. That's bad news, having that white around. So I think he's looking at the hit of that white, take it out and roll over to this position.
Thanks, so. Safe.
Kirsty, would you agree with that?
I feel a big end coming on here.
Now, to be perfectly clear, you're anticipating a large score for blue, am I right?
Absolutely right.
Peter then playing a pretty firm strike weight, trying to remove the white stone. The angle of collision is all important. Looks pretty good, looks pretty close. Takes the double. Takes the double, not exactly what they were looking for, but the look. Not sweeping this at all, which means Gordon was wanting to draw a wee bit, but as you can see, it comes into the house, strikes the front of the white beautifully in a lovely line, goes to the back, cleans out the back white, and as you say, I feel a big end coming on as well, Kirsty. Warwick Smith with a bit of a problem. Ian Stewart here trying to resolve it. Playing the straight hit on the first shot in the centre of the circles. This is now drawing quite a lot. It's cutting off that centre line. Takes it, but doesn't lie around. That's not what he was wanting. Muirhead now definitely has an opportunity.
Aye, okay. Let's go with that first then. Front right.
They were just discussing the option of taking the stone into the circles and perhaps pushing that blue a little further up, but that's a second option. I think the primary objective is to play it on line with the blue, about a foot short of the circles.
This is looking big.
also a little bit wide at the moment. It needs to curl left to right. It must come left to right. This is now the tap-up. As you say, he's played it big. He's got to hit it straight. He's got to hit it straight. He can't afford an angle in this. Well, it's really hard to tell whether that's a good result or not. The sweepers knew that this was a little bit heavy at this stage. They're just waiting for the call from Muirhead. There it goes. Muirhead's trying to keep this stone going straight so that when they touch this one, it goes straight back. But there's a slight angle on it, as we see. And this now gives Warwick-Smith some options. Gordon Muirhead there, as ever, concentrating fiercely on the task in hand. Well, Kirsty, I think Warwick-Smith has nominated a strike shot here, and he's got a couple of options, maybe even a treble takeout on 3 blues, but certainly a good double to reduce them, or a hit and roll in behind cover.
I think the first objective is the double, but if I was him, I'd be looking to go in behind the cover. He really needs to get something in and saved here to avoid losing a big end.
So trying to hit that blue and roll off it into any kind of position roundabout here behind those guards.
1 down without the hammer and facing 4. Horrible position.
Well, that's why he's the skip. He's got to pull them out. Big weight on this one then, assuming it straight away. Trying to hold the line. Hits the blue, gets the roll, but just goes out. He must have played that a little bit tight of line. They were calling the sweeping straight away there. Not looking good. As we can see, they're trying to hold the line, but it's a fast stone. Hits the front, wrong angle, takes a rub off the back of that blue, but still going too fast and just drifts out the play. Not the shot that Smith was looking for.
Russ, remember, drew there. Drew down that centre guard.
Aye, but remember my draw 2 ends ago when it ran straight. Played the intern on the first
yes,
one,
that's right.
on the second one.
You played there and it ended up there.
That's right, that's about right then.
Oh, aye, definitely. It's just the same way, like.
Well, after some debate, Gordon Muirhead and Peter Loudon, I think, have decided to play a similar shot in line with that blue front ring. Just to come into this kind of area, maybe lie in the front circle, but certainly blocking the line to that all-important first shot.
The main thing is to cover the inside edge of that shot as we look at the right-hand side of it, so that there's no possibility for hit and roll in behind the cover.
This is a really big shot from Muirhead. He's lying 3 at the moment. He's got the hammer, 7th end, 3-2 ahead. Remember, Warwick-Smith has only 1 shot to play after this one. So this has got to be really good to shut Smith out.
Got to be front ring then. Got to be in. Got to be in.
It's got to curl to try and cover that inside edge. Drifts in, beautiful shot. Really, really good shot. He could have done so much damage there if he played that a little bit heavy, or if he'd been a bit wide of line. Well, there's his problem. We can see an awful lot of blue, but not very much white at all.
I don't really fancy the draw much. And drawing it there, even if you catch one of those and roll over.
Sure, I mean, if he hits it the same place again, 3 of them are going. If he gets it too thin, he's not going to want that. I mean, you could well 3 of them away.
You get it tight again. Catch that there.
Well, Muirhead has set the problem for Warwick-Smith. And there it is. Now get out of that. Who? Ian Stewart having a good look. Warwick-Smith going out to play the shot. And I think, Kirsty, that he's nominated to play a very difficult strike.
He's taking tightish ice there. He's wanting to lift the double and roll in behind the white guards as we look at it.
Trying to throw this pretty hard then, probably removing 3 stones. Big shot then for Warwick-Smith in the 7th end, giving it plenty of weight. Trying to lift the double, Kirsty, as you say, doesn't quite get the angle, and disastrously leaving 3 stones lying in the circle. Well, that shot really didn't work out at all. He was trying at weight to hit this front one onto the centre stone. He touches it, doesn't quite make the double, but the angle's even wrong for the roll. So rather than coming in, hitting the back of that front blue, he rolls out of play, leaving Muirhead lying 3, and he looks sick. That shot did not work out at all, Kirsty.
No, and that's the problem when you decide to hit. If it doesn't come off, then you're leaving lots of stones in play. An opportunity here for Gordy to draw 4. Could be game over.
It could be game over indeed. Not only are there no whites to beat, he just has to put this in play, and he's got backing at the back of the house. Gordon Muirhead then. A real chance to hammer home a big advantage here, drawing for 4. And there's trouble here, they're all going out to sweep. Having to work this hard. Yeah, but no, at the end of the day, Muirhead picks up a massive 4 to take a 7-2 lead after 7 ends. And that really is the killer punch from Gordon Muirhead for Livingston. In the 10th end of the final, then, Gordon Muirhead has this shot to win the 1995 championship. Just belt that one. As ever, Gordon composing himself. Playing a controlled strike weight, not sweeping this, just keeping it clean. But he's done it. The brooms are raised. Gordon Muirhead and his team from Livingston win the 1995 Scottish Curling Championship. Congratulations to them. Well done, Peter Loudon, 3rd player, Bob Kelly, 2nd, and lead Russell Keeler, and they played a tremendous championship. And at last, Gordon Muirhead makes it as Scottish champion in his own right at skip.
I'm over the moon. It's something I've always dreamed about. It's 20 years since I first qualified for the districts, and 10 years since I lost a heartbreaker in Kirkcaldy, and so I thought 95 might be my year.
Well, the pipes are in celebration behind us, but Peter, very well done. Your sisters are off with you to Manitoba in Canada. It's a real family affair for you, isn't it?
That's right, Hazel. I couldn't let them go themselves. I had to join them, you see, so I managed to do that today.
Well, let's hope you represent Scotland very well. We wish you all the very best in Canada.
And this is the shot that finally brought the Scottish crown to Gordon Muirhead. A simple takeout, but boy, he'd played well.
So Gordon, Peter and the Muirhead Rink will represent Scotland in Canada. So too will Kirsty Hayes, women's champions. But in the interim, some of the best junior curlers in the world will be here in Perth for the World Junior Championships. We'll be back with that. Let's hope you can join us for it. But in the meantime, from us all here in Perth Ice Rink, it's good night.
Stay here when you all arrive.